All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this weekly forecast for the upcoming week, starting tomorrow on Monday, July 20th, all the way to Friday, July 24th. So let's start by looking at the economy calendar for next week, and then we'll dive into the charts. So tomorrow on Monday, we have a JPY bank holiday, so don't trade any JPY pairs tomorrow. Then after that, we have Canadian dollar CPI. That's going to be pretty interesting, in my opinion. Inflation in Canada. We'll have to see where that goes, but the forecast says that we're probably going to stay in the same place that we were last month. So I guess that's a good thing. But we'll see. We'll see if we get a surprise here on the inflation data of Canada. Then after that, we have some New Zealand dollar news. Then on Tuesday, we have some GBP news. Same thing on Wednesday with the inflation data for the British pound. Then after that, on Thursday, we have Australian dollar news, Euro news, USD news, but it's not great. And then finally on Friday, we don't have any red folders. We just have a bunch of Eurozone news and British news. I just want to bring your attention to one very, very important thing here on the economic calendar is that we don't have any USD news for the entire week. We only have unemployment claims on Thursday, and even that is not great. It's just orange folder. So I would be careful this week. Yes, we do have a lot of news coming out, a lot of inflation data, but we don't have any US dollar news. And so that might mean lower volatility throughout the entire week. So we'll have to see how that evolves. But right now, I want to be careful here to approach the markets this week. So let's look at the charts right here. If we start by the dollar, we are still, for the third week in a row, we are still rejecting from that weekly fair value gap. And I'm maintaining my bias here. I think we can still continue higher. Um, the candle we got last week was a clear sweep of the rejection low from inside that weekly fair value gap, and we closed again for the third week in a row. We closed higher from this weekly fair value gap. So higher prices. It's just taking a long time to reject from that weekly fair value gap, but that's normal. We are in July. It's the summer. It's July. Lower volatility, so the moves happen, but they happen in a more slowly than it would in normal market conditions. So higher prices here on the dollar for the week. Then after that, if we look on the daily time frame, it's there's nothing very conclusive here on the daily time frame. But if you look on the 4 hour, we have pushed higher from this 4 hour fair value gap, and we can still do so, continue pushing higher right here. So I would want to wait for a 4 hour fair value gap going higher here on the dollar. And then we have this first target to reach, and then eventually all these other targets. But overall, my bias is still long here on dollar for the week. Okay. So now let's take a look at our majors. So AU doesn't look too good to continue lower. We are, even though, because remember, we had this fair value area right here. It's hard to see it, but it's there. There's a fair value area, and we closed below it. So that in a certain way is a sign of respect that we want to continue lower. But if we're purely talking about the weekly fair value gap, this one right here, then we have disrespected it. I'm going to remove it, but keep in mind we can still reject from that fair value area. And again, the dollar, if you look at the dollar, it's been 3 weeks that we've been trying to push higher from that weekly fair value gap. So I wouldn't be surprised if we can have a third weekly candle here on AU that rejects lower. Okay, so I'll keep an eye on AU for the week. Um, but right now it's just not interesting for the moment, so I'm not going to put it on the interest list. Then after that, we have on the daily, we have this bullish daily fair value gap, which on Friday we got a sting into, started going higher a little bit, but now it's about seeing can this daily fair value gap fail and can price start going lower from here. So again, it's not interesting right now. It's very not interesting, but I'll keep an eye on it throughout the week. Okay. You you to continue lower is not interesting. Let's see. I mean, you could try to find because right now on GU we swept this high right here. And if the dollar wants to continue higher, then GU is going to continue lower. We all know that. So the next target here would be that weekly fair value gap on GU. So for the short term, if you can catch a short trade targeting this weekly fair value gap, then GU could be interesting, honestly. We can see that this is clearly a sweep. That daily fair value gap seems like it's going to be failing. And on the 4 hour, I would want to wait for another 4 hour fair value gap to get created here. Then you can look to target lower towards that weekly fair value gap. But yeah, GU's not too bad. I'll put it on the interest list. Then after that, we have EU. EU is actually the best one. Yeah, this is my favorite at the moment because we got this thing back inside the weekly fair value gap and we pushed lower from it. So that does look really good. We don't have any resistance going against us. We don't have a daily fair value gap there. And then after that, on the 4 hour, 4 hours not too clear. Friday was mostly a consolidation. So right here, hold on. I just wanna. We can still target the slow here on the weekly. That's for sure. That's the weekly target. I would want to wait for tomorrow to clear up. Potentially create a 4 hour fair value gap going lower, then I wouldn't mind taking a look at EU, but EU is definitely interesting. Then after that, we move on to NU. This is just not interesting at all. I don't like this. This is not good. USD Canadian, this one, yeah, this one completely reversed. We were expecting higher prices from this weekly fair value gap, and it did the complete opposite. So honestly, I would want to take a step back here. Let's see this Fibonacci. Yeah, no, this is not clear to me. I really don't like what I'm seeing right here. No, this is not interesting. USD CHF does look very bearish. We did push higher. We did deliver higher from this weekly fair value gap, and we reached this target that we had. Now that this target is reached, we swept it and we're starting to go lower, and that does look very bearish to me. So um, I would like to be I would like to be careful here. So yeah, USD CHF, not interesting. Not interesting at the moment. USD JPY, this one is probably also not interesting. This is just a massive consolidation here. I don't like it. So honestly, EUGU for next week, they look interesting. Maybe AU as well. We'll take a look at AU. I'll put it in the interest list and I'll take a look at it later this week. Now moving on to the metals, gold, starting with gold. Again, it's we've been in this weird type of market since the beginning of July, but again, it's normal. It's July, it's the lowest volatility, the lowest month, the sorry, the lowest volatility month. And so I'm not really surprised that we're getting this huge consolidation here. But then after that, if you look on the daily, we failed to create that daily fair value gap. But I just want to mention that we can still reject from this 4 hour fair value gap right here. I think this whole move going higher is pretty weak. Actually, it's very weak. Even on like the 15 minute, it's not the greatest move going higher. I think we can still somehow reject from this 4 hour fair value gap. And again, if we look at the fib on this, so from this high to this low, we can still keep going higher for a little while, potentially reach the zero point 0.5 level to then start going lower. So yeah, gold, not great right now. I have to admit, it's mostly consolidation, consolidating trend. So let's take a step back here on gold and wait for price to clear up so we have a better idea of what price wants to do. Then after that, on silver, silver has reached a target. It's consolidating less than gold. Now, as I said, the next target on silver would be this fair value area right there. Then on the daily, maybe we can pinpoint a closer target. I think this right here would be the closest target that we have. It's actually a fair value area. We haven't reached it yet. We can still reach it. I do prefer silver because silver did, sorry, this is annoying. All right. Silver did create a daily fair value gap, and we can continue lower from this. Um, so yeah, I see some potential here on silver. The move higher on the 4 hour is very, very weak. So yeah, silver definitely interesting for tomorrow, for this week. Gold, a little bit less, in my opinion. Then after that, crude oil. Crude oil, right now we got this thing inside this weekly fair value gap, and right now the first candle is not a rejection at all. It's very, very strong bullish candle. Oil is definitely heading back higher. Now, I am still expecting somewhat of a rejection from that weekly fair value gap. We still didn't get it yet. So I'm still waiting for that rejection. When we do get it, that rejection, then we're going to trade back inside this daily fair value gap, fair value area. From there, we can keep going higher. So crude oil should be interesting this week. Let's keep an eye on it. Bitcoin, let's see. Yeah, I think Bitcoin is, again, just like gold and silver, consolidating, not really going anywhere. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see higher prices for a while in Bitcoin here until we reach that zero point 0.5 level, and then we can start moving lower. In the daily time frame, it's just a massive, massive consolidation. Honestly, I don't know what to tell you here. I'm really 50-50 at the moment on Bitcoin. Let's wait for tomorrow. Let's wait for it to clear up, and maybe we'll have a better idea. But right now, it's just not going anywhere. Right. Then after that, we have the indices. Last week were bearish. We got some very bearish prices on the indices. So let's start by the S&P. The S&P is much stronger than Nasdaq. Of course, we know that. It's been the it's been the trend for the past 2-3 weeks. So right now, the candle we got last week, this is extremely bearish. So we can just keep going lower, honestly. Ideally, honestly, what I would like to see, my highest probability scenario right now, is that on Monday we consolidate and we create this daily fair value gap. like this right here. Daily fair value gap that we can sting back into on Tuesday and continue lower. That would be um, well, that would be what I'm expecting here on the S&P. But overall, lower prices throughout the week for sure. The Nasdaq has reached a major target right here, and but I still think that we can continue lower from here. The wick that we're getting at the bottom here is only a small rejection, but overall we can definitely continue lower. And we also have on Nasdaq this daily bearish fair value gap, and we have the potential to maybe create another one right there. Okay, so let's see if Monday can just consolidate around this level, create another daily fair value gap that we can continue lower from. And yeah, that would be very interesting here. I think we're in for the crash, lads, by the way. I Both the S&P and Nasdaq are giving me, red flags that we are in a bear market and that we can start to see those lower prices that we've been expecting for a while. All right, and finally, let's take a look at the crosses very quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Canadian dollar JPY to go higher. We could be in a third candle consolidation here on the weekly, so keep that in mind. Could be dangerous. We have this daily fair value gap. Honestly, I don't like it that much. Um, let's take a look at all the other JPY pairs, see if there's actually something interesting or if I'm just forcing an idea here. CHF JPY not interesting. GBP JPY has reached a massive target right there, so no. On the daily, not interesting. Euro JPY, not interesting as well. Australian dollar JPY, mm, no, I don't like it. Yes, I know we have this daily for Valley Gap right here, but it just doesn't look so good because on the weekly, this wick that we're getting at the top, it does seem like we want to sweep this high right there and continue lower instead. So yeah, it's not too great. New Zealand dollar JPY, we're already so close to the target. Well, I'll put this one on the interest list, then this one, and then Canadian dollar JPY. Okay? Just so we can keep an eye on them, and worst case, we'll just take them off the interest list tomorrow. But for now, I think these are the three most interesting. Then Australian dollar CHF. Yeah, it's a massive consolidation here on the weekly, even on the daily. Not interesting. Canadian dollar CHF is also within that bigger consolidation area. I don't like this. Euro CHF, no. GBP CHF. GBP CHF doesn't look too bad because we still have this target to reach. And we have a weekly fair value gap right there. Maybe if we can get that retracement back inside the weekly fair value gap, something a little bit like this, then we can start going higher. It's not too bad. I'll put it in the interest list. Then New Zealand dollar CHF, this one completely um, skyrocketed last week. So we closed above this target right here. That's a very strong bullish sign. Now, we did create a weekly fair value gap lower right there, but this weekly fair value gap, I just don't think we're going to retrace into it. There's no way we're going to go all the way back down there. So, honestly, at the moment, I don't like it. I would rather wait for another weekly fair value gap to get created here on New Zealand dollar CJ. Okay, then Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, sorry. Uh, yeah, this is heading for the weekly fair value gap, but it's within this bigger consolidation zone. So no Euro Canadian, it's not great as well. We could be in third candle consolidation on the weekly. Don't like it. GBP Canadian dollar. Okay, so this one is still good in my opinion. The first candle that we got is not necessarily a rejection, but the second candle can definitely reject. And I do like we are respecting this fair value area right now. So yeah, I do like what I'm seeing here on GBP Canadian. This one was on the interest list last week, and I think it will remain there. We'll keep an eye on it. New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar. This one also does look good. I do like this weekly fair value gap. I think we should get a retracement back into it and then continue higher, targeting this high right there. So yeah, this is interesting for sure. Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, completely reversed, never reached this target up here, started going lower instead. This is just, yeah, this is just not interesting right now. Euro, New Zealand dollar, same thing. GBP, New Zealand dollar, same thing. Okay, not interesting. Euro, Australian dollar is consolidating, so no. And then GBP, Australian dollar. We can still target higher. We can still go higher here from this weekly fair value gap. I do like the respect that we're getting. But the Friday's candle here does show quite a bit of bearish momentum. So maybe we are in for lower prices until we reach that second weekly fair value gap. And from here, we can actually start going higher like this. It was on the interest list last week. I'm still gonna put it there. Um, but just we'll have to be careful on these. So we have a couple pairs on the interest list that are not too bad. Um, it's not great to be honest. I haven't seen like one pair that I'm like, wow, this is really good. The only one that I would say that's like the best right now is GBP Canadian, right? But all the other ones are just it's me forcing ideas. Okay. So keep that in mind. Be careful. And yeah, that's it for the crosses. So a little recap here on the indices, lower prices for the week. That's very clear. We are in for that crash that I've been talking about for a very long time. It's closer than ever. It's going to happen definitely before the end of 2026. Then after that, on the majors, for the week on the dollar, higher prices, I think we still have this major high, intermediate term high to reach. So higher prices on the dollar. Then when it comes to the majors, I do like EU. EU and AU a little bit less. So, you know, be careful with these two right here, but EU is interesting. Then on the metals, gold is not very interesting right now, but silver is for lower prices, obviously, from this daily fair value gap right there. Then after that, crude oil, we're expecting higher prices this week, or maybe consolidation, depending. But we could create a weekly fair value gap here. That would be nice. And finally, Bitcoin. I can't tell you right now. Honestly, this is really 50-50. Uh, I can't reach a clear bias. Let's wait for some kind of a breakout, either to the upside or to the downside, and then we'll have a better idea of where price wants to go. But yeah, overall, I think not the greatest week ahead. I have to be honest with you on that. We don't have the best setups. We don't have the best economic calendar as well. So just let's be careful here. Um, but yeah, overall, I think we should get at least one or two opportunities this week. All right, lads. Well, this is it for this weekly forecast. Thank you for listening, and I will be back tomorrow with a daily forecast. And we'll see if things change, things clear up a little bit, and we can have a better idea of what the markets want to do. So, thank you for listening, and I will see you tomorrow. Ciao.